The second lab we're going to review is making connections. The connection we're going to make is the number of clothespin squeezes you have and in relation to the heartbeat. Does the heartbeat increase as you squeeze more in a minute, or does it decrease? So why does our heart increases when we exercise? Our heart is a pump for blood to be transported to all cells. Our blood carries food and oxygen to our cells for respiration. As we exercise, our cells require more and more food and oxygen, and at a faster rate, to provide us with energy. Hence, the pump will have to work faster and faster to supply our cells with whatever it needs. So here is the image of our heart, and as it pumps, it's supplying or it's sending blood to our system, and then our heart receives blood back from whatever cells it carries the blood to. So basically the heart is a giant pump. All the materials that it's pumping out is sent through blood vessels, whether our blood cells, food, carbon dioxide, oxygen. All of these materials are transported through blood vessels, and the site where it delivers them is to our cells. Here you can see our cells sending or receiving materials from the blood vessels and sending back waste materials through the blood vessels. So every single thing is done through our vascular system, or our circulatory system. So again, the relationship are, as we exercise, our heart pumps blood faster and faster, it transports through the blood vessel faster and faster, and more materials are delivered to our cells at a faster rate. So again, making connections, basically we have to make a connection between exercise and no exercise. Whenever we exercise, it is important to remember that the heart rate will increase. More food and oxygen will be supplied to the cell because the cell demands it. Also, we have to remember that more waste product or lactic acid is produced. This is why we have muscle fatigue. Whenever we don't exercise, our heart pumps at a regular rate. The amount of food and oxygen is supplied at a regular rate, and the waste product is not built up in the cells. It is carried out of the cells by the blood vascular or the circulatory system. When we did our experiment, we collected the class results, and this is the chart that is students who basically their heart rate was at a rate of 51 to 60. 2 students did that, then at 61 to 70, 10 students, and so forth. Basically, we plot a histogram to show the results, and you can see that most students, their heart rate falls between 61 to 70, and the least amount is above 90 and below 51. So the questions that we're concerned with for the regions are: what does an increased pulse rate indicate about our heart rate and flow of blood in someone's body? The answer to that is that an increase in heart rate indicates the heart is beating faster, and a higher rate means blood is moving more rapidly throughout the body. Basically, our cells are receiving oxygen and food at a faster rate. Another question is: when muscles are active, cells use nutrients and oxygen at a higher rate and waste chemicals and heat more rapidly. Describe the interaction of 2 or more body systems that helps to maintain homeostasis during periods of high muscle activity, and be sure to identify 2 systems you refer to in your answer. So homeostasis is basically creating a balance, and whenever our cells are receiving nutrients, they are supplying waste, and there must be a balance. Whenever there is an imbalance, something will happen. Let's look at the answer. To maintain this balance, our respiratory system takes in oxygen, which is transported to cells, and another system, the circulatory system, is transported by the circulatory system. The cell uses the oxygen at a higher rate, and an increased heart rate would get food faster to the cells. Another question is: what is muscle fatigue? Now, whenever you're exercising and your heart is pumping at a really fast rate, you're blood is going at a really fast rate through your blood vessels. Your cells are receiving oxygen and food at a fast rate. Also, waste product by your cells are producing at an extremely fast rate, and when it builds up, that is muscle fatigue. So muscle fatigue basically is when waste builds up in your cell because your system cannot facilitate the disposal of it at the rate that it should. Also, this question in your exam, they're going to ask you several things. For example, is there a connection between height rate and heart rate? And you have to write a hypothesis. Basically, a hypothesis is an if or then statement. You can basically say anything ranging from if there's an increase in height, the heart rate increases, or if there's a decrease in height, the heart rate increases. Whatever you are writing as your hypothesis, it should be a cause and effect with if I do this, then something will happen. Number 2, how can we increase the validity or accuracy of an experiment? Any experiment they give you and they ask you this question, basically it means that you can increase the accuracy or validity by repeating the experiment several times. It is another way to improve. Number 3, what is a possible control for the experiment? And that is counting the heart rate without any exercise. Finally, identify the dependent and independent variable. Dependent variable is basically whatever you're measuring or whatever data you're collecting. In this case, we are collecting the heart rate. The independent variable is whatever you're doing in the experiment. And again, we were exercising, so that's the independent variable.